Hey, where you been? I think it's more along the lines of a question of where have I been? Well, I've been pretty busy. You know, life's troubles, life's worries, life's hassles, always chores to do. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. uh, Me and Nick was trying to get together for him to film this, and it just wasn't going to happen. So hopefully Nick will be back when summer's here and school's out. So uh, I'm going to go ahead and film these next two. Now, I've said before a lot of times, I get asked questions that I just cannot answer on a message. I just have to show you. So I've got a bunch of questions that's built up, and the things that I got to show are a little lengthy, so it may be interesting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it in two parts, and I'm gonna film and upload. I'm gonna film all of it, but I'm gonna upload the first part 1 week, the second part a week later. I'm gonna try to get it up. So all right, let's get a good spot around here, find a good place to set up, and then we'll get into it, and maybe I'll show you some neat stuff. Alright, this isn't too bad of a spot right here, I don't guess. Got plenty of canopy now, summer canopy, to take care of that glare on that camera. Alright, now, I have been asked here lately a lot about my butt pack and suspender setup. And it's great for minimalists that don't want to carry a full backpack. And you can kind of see, I don't know if it's my thing or my trademark or what, it's just something I've always done, but I've always carried my rope up here on the back, and I'll show you how that's rigged up. And what this is, let me pull this thing off. What this is, my butt pack, a lot of people will call the whole outfit web gear, okay? Because they make several different sets of suspenders, and they make several different sets of LBVs, load bearing vests, and they all have their places. And I have been asked about this setup. I have been asked what all pieces is in this thing. And what it is, it's a 3-piece set, okay? The suspenders you buy separately, okay? That's this part right here. Now, the suspenders are what's called H suspenders. They make a Y suspender. The Y suspender doesn't mount to a butt pack as well. H suspenders, it does mount good, okay? Now, you got the suspenders. The other part of it is the pistol belt. It's the wide 2-inch belt. And it's sometimes called a GI pistol belt, okay? And then, of course, the pack part, that's the butt pack part, okay? Now, they make a canvas butt pack, but it's kind of old-fashioned. It's real heavy. I don't like it. I like the newer nylon ones. They weigh less. It's called an enhanced nylon butt pack. Okay. I'm gonna bring you down here so I can I'll show you how I mount my rope. All right, I got you down here where you can see just a little bit better. And what I want to talk about here first off is the enhanced nylon butt pack. Okay. Now, one of the things about this that's neat is, let me see if I can flip it over. Okay, when you flip it over, this is just kind of for if you actually buy the 3-piece kit. Now, the way it works is you use Alice clips and you attach it to the pistol belt, the butt pack to the pistol belt, okay? Then the H suspenders, they get run through these loops right here and attached to the pistol belt. And then on the front of the pistol belt, you will attach right here, okay? All right, now let's flip it over here and I'll show you something else right here. And see, this is great because you can carry all of your small items in the butt pack. And it's also, let me unhook this. It's got the Fastex buckles for the top with adjustable straps. And then it's got a pouch inside it. And so you can carry all of your stuff inside here, you know, and I keep everything in separate bags on the inside, okay? I keep all my small stuff inside there. Let me move this stuff over here to the side. Now, on the bottom here, there's a separate set of straps, which is pretty cool, because down here, you can strap up and adjust either a small blanket or, in my case, a tarp. Or if you want to carry your poncho, you can put it on and tighten these straps up and you're good to go. Now we're going to be using this tarp, so I'll go ahead and slide it out. Now, up here to the part where I carry up on the top. Now, on the back of these, okay, you can see I always carry rope and stuff, and I carry, sometimes I will wrap my rope up in a tarp. And what I have made is the back of these H suspenders, on the backs of them, you can see that they come with a hook on each side, okay? Now what I have made up special is I went to the store and I bought me some hooks, okay? I bought some hooks and some webbing and some Fastex buckles, and I made 2 loops, and then I sewed them together with a big 2-inch piece of webbing, okay? And so what that does is this is completely adjustable now. You can adjust it through here and you just clamp down. And so that way you hook it on the back of your web gear with these 2 clips, okay? And then you can just unsnap them just like that. So and you carry your rope. You can have your rope wrapped up in a tarp, you know, or you can be like me, you can carry a blanket in here. So, all right, that's what it looks like. This is homemade, and it actually looks like a little H, okay? And that right there clips, and you could also probably clip this to the bottom of your backpack if you wanted to, but I always clip it to the top of my H suspenders. You get kind of a better view of it right here. It's got those clips on the back, okay? All right, now that's my gear right there. All right, now I'm gonna go over one other thing real quick before we go and do the move on to the shelter part of it. All right, now somebody had asked me one time, they said they talked about paracord storage, and I'm always getting asked questions if I wear those paracord survival bracelets, and I've got them, and I've got this paracord survival keychain, but I carry them, but I don't really dig into them because I just, to me, something like that, that is for an emergency, you know, and you know, who wants to ruin your paracord bracelet just for no reason, you know? So, but anyway, what I do, let me ease you down here to my pocket. On my side pockets right here, what I always carry is, it doesn't weigh nothing, and so in each pocket, usually what I carry is I just carry a couple of extra hanks of paracord, okay? Now, this is on top of, to me, that's extra. Like if I'm gonna be doing a shelter, then what I do is inside my little bag of tricks here, I usually go ahead and carry whatever paracord that I need for my shelter, okay? And a lot of times I'll put it in these bags like this because there's no telling what good these bags can be later on. You know, they're great for collecting wild edibles, tinder, berries, you know, whatever you need. All right, now, okay, one other thing before I show you something really cool that I have found recently. I'm gonna go over fire in next week's video, but you might have seen this tube hanging on my back. I never have showed this or talked about it. I've got 2 of them. One of them is bigger than this because it's big enough to carry a map. And what it is a tube that is completely wrapped up in paracord, okay? Now this thinner tube, and then it's got some paracord looped on it, okay? And then it's got a little adjustment. I don't even know the name of that, but it'll adjust it out, okay? Now what this thing is, carry it around my back, okay? What it is, pull the cap off, and it's where I keep, you know, I was saying that it's great to be able to go out and get a spindle from out in the woods to do a hand drill. Well, somebody asked me, one of the questions I was asked one time is, how do you carry, once you get a good spindle, you know, hand drill's a great hobby and it's a great way of starting fire, it's fun. So once you get a good a spindle, how do you carry it without breaking it? Well, this is what it is. I got a piece of PVC tubing, plastic, doesn't weigh nothing. That's what I keep my spindle in whenever I want to carry it, and then I just cap it off. Now, This is another thing. The reason I'm showing this now, I'll show it again in the next video and talk more about friction fire. But the reason that I'm showing this is because this tube also, with this strap, this tube is wrapped with 120 feet of paracord. Now you ain't gonna get that out of no survival bracelet. No, don't get me wrong, I like the survival bracelets and keychains. I think they're awesome, but you know, when you're protecting your hand, your good hand drill, because these spindles are hard to come by that really smoke fast and work quick. They're hard to come by. So that's how I carry mine without breaking it. Okay? Anyway, like I say, that's a good way of storing 120 feet of paracord. Now, let me show you something else in this little bag right here that I think is just so cool. I found a guy on Facebook, and he has come up with the idea, and he is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran. So I think that's pretty cool too. But he is making these little things called cano cord. Okay? And what it is, and it comes in black, and it comes in black, and it comes in olive drab. And these little cans here have 20 feet of paracord wrapped up in them. And I think it's just such a cool idea. These are so neat because, you know, you just carry them in your pocket, throw one in the bottom of your pouch, and throw them in the bottom of your canteen holder, you know, whatever. And that's a kind of a cool thing right there. But that guy's on Facebook, and I think that's pretty cool. It ain't that often that I see products that I think that are neat, but it's got, like I say, it's got black and olive drab wrapped up in a little container. Isn't that neat? All right, now let's see right here. I didn't bring a machete this time. I only brought a knife, and the reason I brought this knife is because I was asked a question about it. So, all right, let's ease over here. I'm gonna take care of the shelter. No, I'm not gonna take care of the shelter first. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take care of the knife. Let me move the camera down so we can talk about the knife now. All right, now I did a video one time. Okay, I did a video one time called "The One Knife to Survive." Now, what I chose was this knife right here. Okay, now the reason I did is simply because I said it was a psychological aspect. I've owned this knife for probably half my life, and it was given to me by my brother. And so, like I said, whenever you're actually in a bad situation, you got to have the will to live. Okay, you don't want to just give up and die. And having things that you love that remind you of home will take you back home. Okay, now first off, I got to say this is not one of those El Cheapo Rambo style knives. This is a Parker IMI knife. Okay, it's a very expensive knife. Now, the 3 techniques for getting water with only a knife, they only work with a good knife. Okay, now everybody knows these have the hollow handle. Okay, when they have the hollow handle with the heavy metal machine screws, this stuff is not stamped. This handle is machined. Okay, now I don't know how many hollow handled knives that they make anymore that are any good, but whenever they're machined like this and they have a rubber O-ring, that means that the handle is waterproof, and it'll hold water. It won't hold a lot of water, but any water you get into your body is a good thing, because in a bad situation, because, you know, I know you need food for energy, but you won't die without food, but you got to have water or you will die. And every little bit of clean water you drink is fantastic. Now, the first method for getting water with this is scoop up whatever water you can find, take all the contents out of the handle. Okay, now I'm only going to show you the third method. I'm not going to show you these because it does damage to the knife. Okay, put the water in. Let me move you down. Okay, and then what you take to protect the knife, you take the knife and you stab the knife into the ground. See if I can find a place where it's just mud. All right, what you do is you stab the knife into the ground all the way to protect the blade. You've got the water in here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to build a fire around it. Okay. Now I know if you were in certain areas you could find bull kelp or birch bark, but that is not around here. That is not an option. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to build a fire up here, and the fire is probably going to ruin the handle. It's going to ruin the coating on it, but you're going to be protecting the blade because the blade is below ground. Okay. Now, That's not a great method, but it will get you water. That is one method. And I would only do that if it was a life or death situation. Okay? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to run and I'm going to explain the second method. And then I'm going to try the third method, because the third method is the best. All right, now I had actually said there was 3 methods, and I had forgotten there's actually a 4th method. Because now remember this, and I can tell you something else. I don't live on the beach. There ain't no shells around here. There's no bull kelp to wrap into a container. There's no birch bark, you know. It's kind of hard out here in the south. It's kind of hard to find a container for water if you don't have one. So, but anyway, another method that I'd forgot about is, you see this cordage on it? Okay, you got this cordage right here, and then you got this extra cordage up on the top. Now, remember, you don't have a container. Something else you can do is you can take this extra cordage and you can tie it around your boots and walk through the tall grass and get them good and sopping wet. And then whatever water is on the grass is going to be clean and good to drink. So then you can take it and just chug-a-lug it. Okay. Now, the other way that I was going to show you, that was a method that I'd forgotten about. Now, another method is if you can find these vines, and look for the vines near creeks. Okay. And like I say, don't drink straight out of a creek, because you don't know what's upstream. Okay. There could be anything in that water. And if you get sick, if you get dysentery from the water, or any kind of bacteria, or I think it's pronounced giardia, that's a death sentence. You know, that's worse than dehydration, because then you're going to really be throwing up all the fluids that you just got. But okay, now take the knife and get you a vine, and you want to cut it off. All right, you want to cut it off. Okay, now up as high as you can go on the vine, and I'm going to tell you something, this is going to help because of the capillary action. Go up as high, I'm going to show you right here on camera, but go up as high as you can and scrape the bark off like that right there. Okay, in a few different places, just scrape the bark off. Okay, now I'm not a scientist or an engineer, but and I can't explain about the capillary action, but I've noticed that the water flows out of a vine a lot better if you'll do that. Okay. Now down on the ground, then what you do down here, let me aim you down here. Now what you want to do now is, once again, you stab the knife in the ground. And I know there's going to be a lot of purists that are complaining about this, but you know, this is not a camping technique. This is something that I'm showing that if you're about to drop dead and you need some clean water, this is what you do. You take that. Okay, you got your vine cut off, you got it skinned at the top to stop the capillary action, and you just set the vine in it. Okay, that's why I say the first way is the absolute worst way, because it ruins your knife. This doesn't ruin the knife. You can just move this from vine to vine, okay, and let it sit. It'll take you 30 minutes to an hour for it to fill up with water. So, all right. Now, let's move on. I'm going to move on to the final way of getting water with a knife, because I'm going to have to show how it works at the end of the video. Okay? That's the old saying, put your money where your mouth is, because it's actually the best method. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to let it be working while we're building this shelter over here. Alright, now the next thing that you want to do for the final method of getting water, get your knife, because it's all you've got. Alright, now you find you a nice sunny spot where there's like some grass growing, some greenery and stuff. Now if you have to, you can gather green pine needles, or you can gather some ferns, but if you can get green grass that you know is non-poisonous, gather up a bunch of it. See, gather you up a big old wad of green grass, as much as you can find, and then you can move on to the creek and you can really start getting water. Alright, you got you a bunch of grass right here. Now what you need, whoop, knife fell out. That was real smart. Now what you need is you need a digging stick. So grab you like a group where there's a group of trees and you got a small sapling coming out. Ain't gonna hurt nothing to thin it out anyway, but just remember, you're dying of dehydration. Alright, you're gonna need your digging stick because you're gonna be digging a hole. Now, like I said, you could, if you had to, you could dig it with a knife, but why do that? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sharpen this up now, and then I'll go over there, and then we'll get next to the creek, and I'll show you how to do the next part of digging a hole. Alright, now we found a nice flowing creek right through here, okay? And one of the other things that you need to do is you need to get you a rock. You can get one that's beside the creek, like over there, but not necessarily in the creek, okay? Because you're gonna need that rock too. We'll get that and we'll move on over. Alright, now what you want to do is you want to find a spot near the creek. Now, if where you're going to be digging next to the creek is the same level as the water, you need to be at least a foot away from the water, okay? If it's up a bank, you can be just a little bit closer to the creek. But what you do is you find you a spot and you start digging a hole. Now if it's sandy soil and not muddy, you might could omit the grass, and you might even could dig the hole with your knife. But if it's kind of rocky or muddy, you want to use the grass and the digging stick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to start digging a hole. Alright, now as you can see, what I've done is I have dug down. It's already filling up with water. I'm actually a little bit too close. It needs to be further away. But what you do next is you take your grass and you lay your grass in one direction, okay? And then you lay another bed of grass in another direction. And then you lay more grass at a 45, okay? Now, if you drink straight out of the stream, it's going to be bad, okay? So what you do now is you take a rock. You can rinse that rock off in the water. Let's see if I got you over here. I don't know if I got you or not. You rinse that rock off in the water. Get everything off of it. Okay. Hang you back over here. Then if you have to, because what little bit of water is on this rock from the creek won't make you sick once it's diluted with the clean water. And if you have to, you can wipe it off with some ferns, because these ferns are going to be clean. Grab you a few more of these. Just make sure you don't wipe it off with a poisonous type of fern. And then you just take a rock and you just shove the rock down into the bottom. Okay. Now it could be deeper, but it was filling up pretty quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in about a half an hour and I'm going to check that hole. And I'm going to see if that hole is full of clean water. And that'll be our drinking water. Now, something else that I constantly get asked about is rope, all the time. Now, I don't use climbing ropes, too heavy, too expensive. I've tried a million different kinds of ropes, and most ropes are lousy, like cheap old polyester rope, or that horrible floating rope. You know, it has its uses, I suppose, but if you're out here fooling around in the woods like I am, building shelters and things, and building beds, you don't want that stuff. You don't want polyester rope. It'll tear up on tree bark quick, okay? And it stretches too much. That floating rope is just, it's horrible. Polyester rope's horrible, okay? This is the best rope I have ever found. It does not weigh a whole lot. It's not real expensive. It's made in the USA. And it's just, I can't say enough good about it. But what it is it's made by Rothco, okay? Rothco makes it. It comes in this camo color. and sometimes it comes in black. Okay, now sometimes this stuff's also sold under the name mil-spec or Atwood, but it's all made in USA by some company. But I just go ahead and I look for the Rothco name, okay, and if that ain't there, I'll look for Atwood or mil-spec. But it's polypropylene is the outer shell, and the inner shell is nylon core, okay, and that's what it keeps stretching down low. I know when your hammock straps you don't want nylon, you want polyester, but with this rope it's different. This stuff's better. And it's got a 1,200 pound working test. No, it's a 1,200 pound test, 120 pound working load. And all that means is that in a lab it took 1,200 pounds to break the rope, but they're only going to guarantee it for 120 pounds. So in other words, if it breaks on you less than 120 pounds, you know, they can be liable for whatever damages. You know, you go over 120 pounds, you know, that's your own fault. But, you know, what I'm saying is it takes 1,200 pounds to break it. Now, this was a tag that came on it. Rothco, okay? They sell it in 50-foot lengths and 100-foot lengths, okay? Camouflage, 3/8 diameter. All right, enough of that. I had to keep these, every time I buy them, I have to keep these tags because people ask about them so much. All right, enough about the rope. Now, another thing that I was asked is, I'm pretty well known for my rope bed or rope hammock. I've gotten several questions from people that they've said, me personally, I sleep like a log, okay? I lay down and I'm exhausted and I fall asleep and I don't move. I got several questions before, people asking, saying, how can you sleep in that without falling out of it? Is there a way I can sleep in it without falling out of it? Well, there's another version to the rope hammock called the rope cradle bed, okay? Now, you either need 2 gigantic trees or you need at least 1 reasonable sized trees with 3 other little trees, or you need 6 little trees. Now, I found a decent spot right here. Then I'm gonna clear out, and what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna tie up one end of them 3 trees right there and tie the other end of that one big tree right there, and I've got just about the right length to it. So what I'm gonna do now is, first off, is I'm gonna start clearing out some of this brush and trees and stuff, and then I'm gonna start making it. Okay, get these out of the way to where I have nothing but just trees here. Alright, now I hate vines more than anything. They tear up your pants, they tear up your gloves. They're just not good. Well, sometimes, some people will take, a lot of times if you just try to chop them, they move. And a lot of people will try to chop at them into the ground. Well, if you got a really good blade, you don't want to do that. So what you do is carry a stick with you and use that for chopping them. Just like that right there. Okay? That way you're cutting above the ground, and then you can just clear all this stuff out of the way. But some of these vines, see, that's horrible. Alright, I about got this cleared out now. Alright, now I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there that's going to be wondering, you know, why do you go to the trouble of removing all them thorns and stuff? Well, for one thing, you can't always find the right trees at the right location. And another thing, in the southern woods here, the thorns are everywhere. Alright, now we'll take our rope, and where's the end? Here it is. Okay. Just naturally, the first thing that you want to do is tie it off to the tree, right in the center. Okay. Now I don't like naming names of knots, because everybody seems to like to complain and attack me. But I will say that on this one I use a taut line hitch to start with. That way I can choke the first one up to the tree. Alright, then you just run it towards the other end and you do the same thing on the other end. Alright, now on this end right here, all you want to do is you want to take it and you want to wrap it around the tree. Okay. Push and pull. Push with one hand, pull with the other one. Okay. You want to give it another wrap. Let's see. That ain't level. Here, I'll do it again. Push and pull, and then wrap around the tree. Okay. Now your next move, that is going to be the center. Now your next move is going to be up on this tree. You're going to come up just a little bit higher, and you're going to wrap it twice. Okay. And then you run it down to the other end and wrap around the tree. Alright, now wrapped around the other end a little bit higher. I'll show you that in a minute. Now next thing you want to do here is you want to come back and you want to wrap this a little bit higher on the third tree. Okay? So you got a high, a low, and a high. Okay? That's what makes it a cradle. Give it a push and a pull and a wrap. Okay? You want to wrap that around just a couple of times. Okay. Now another thing that you can do is you can come down to this tree. Let me get this. I'm starting to get tangled up here. Come down to this tree, and you want to make it to where you come on the side of the tree that you're going to wind up on that side, not this side. That if you fed around here, you would come around on this side. So what you want to do is feed it around this part. Push and pull. Alright. And then you just come on down to this end. And then you tie it off on the other end. Now, you can kind of see what I'm doing here now. I got two on the bottom, and then I got a couple up on the top right here. Alright. This is what makes it a cradle. Okay. Now, the foot end doesn't matter as much, so you can just tie it up to one tree. Alright, now on the other end, I was tied off in the center line. Okay. So when I came back, the rope was over on this side. So what you do is you wrap around the tree, and then you put your rope on this side, and you come up through. Okay. And then you pull it over. So you can give it a pull. You pull this rope over to the center line. Now this is on the foot end, okay? And then you're just going to start wrapping from here to here, 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 okay? So I'm going to do that. That's a very lengthy, messy operation. Now as you can see, I've started wrapping these triangles. And what you want to do is you want to go from the bottom to one side. You do one side and you wrap it around twice, okay? By now this becomes a messy wad of rope, and you just have to kind of reach around and do it. But you take this wad of rope, okay, take this wad of rope, kind of hard to film all this myself, and then once you go under, you want to wrap it around twice, okay, just like that. And then you're going to come up, okay, you lay it over, you wrap it around twice. Now like I say, everybody's always nagging me saying, why don't you just get a hammock? Well, I've got a hammock and I use a hammock, but there's things that rope does that a hammock won't do. There's millions of things you can allow yourself. Matter of fact, one day I'm going to do a rope video showing all the different uses of rope. But I mean, you could just imagine anything you need to do, you can do with a rope, especially if you live in a hilly terrain. See, that's just all you got to do is go over like that right there. Now when I get this side done right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the other side. Now 100 foot of rope usually does this. Let me finish this up. Alright, here's the end view. You can see how I've got this weaved to an angle, okay, all the way down. And then the other side is just a piece of rope. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to weave from here to here. Now, that's where the other piece of rope comes in. I've got a separate piece of 25 feet that I'm going to weave on that side. And, see, that was the reason why I carried this extra rope right here. Is because about 100 feet won't do it all on this type of bed. 100 feet will do a flat rope bed easy, but an angle bed like this it won't. And what I've done is, when I got down to the end, I tied it off. And then I came over here and I tied it off to this tree. And I got a little bit of extra hanging. And see, that way I can have a place that I can tie off my butt pack with a carabiner or something. I can keep it off the ground, keep the ants out of it. I'll give you another view right here. Alright, I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay, that's what it looks like. Alright, I'm going to weave the other side and I'll cut you back on. Alright, and there it is finished. I'll take a couple of different shots because I don't know if you can see it all. But you can see it's got like a V shape to it now. It kind of cradles your body. Then when you get to the end, you just take that top line and you tie it off as a ridge line. Now I brought a tarp. But I may not use it. And so there's another view of it. Now I'm going to set the camera up so I can show you how to do the blanket. Alright, I think I got you where I can see this pretty good. Now all I'm going to do is a lot of times, sometimes it does get kind of cold here at night, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blanket on. And the blanket is going to kind of, another thing too is you can move these around a little bit. You can move them around to position more up towards your head side. And another thing you can do is you can put your butt pack also up top as a pillow. So say I take a blanket. During the winter I'll use a wool blanket, but I'm going to use a fleece blanket for summertime because it doesn't really get that cold at night, but it does get a little bit cold. So what I'm going to do, roll it out. Lay it over. Lay it inside. Alright. Now, I leave a little bit hanging off the sides because when you leave a little off the sides here, it's going to be kind of like a wind block. Okay? Now, now comes the funny part. If this collapses, I'm going to leave it on video anyway. Hopefully it won't though. These are pretty tough shelters, or beds. Oh, now see, it's just right because the cradle is not coming above my shoulders. If it was coming above my shoulders, it would be pinching me in. Ah. All right, I'm gonna grab a. Hey, don't that look cozy? All right, I'm gonna grab my butt pack and I'm gonna show you how to use it as a pillow. All right, now what you do is up here on the front part right here. I'll move this where I can see you. Should have adjusted it. Now, of course, the cover, the tarp, will go over the ridge line. I'm sure everybody knows how to throw a tarp over, so I'm not going to do that. But what you want to do with this right here, set the butt pack with your gear in it, and then you take the pistol belt. All right, take the pistol belt, and you want to strap it around the tree. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, then you could even take these straps, and you could tie these straps off to the sides. Okay. Isn't that neat? Let me lay in it again. So you can see, how it's got that dish to it. See, isn't that neat? All right, let me lay in it. Oh man. And see, like I say, if the sides were up above my shoulders, it would be pinching me in, okay? But it's not, it's right below my shoulders. See, this is just, man, this is great. This is actually a lot better than the flat one. It's just there's a lot more weaving to it, and that's just the reason why I don't do it often. And then there's a ridge line up here you throw the tarp over. I may or may not do it, but well, I will show you one trick because somebody asked me about the tarp once. All right, now most people will put their tarps over. I'll go ahead and show you how I would do this, but I'm not going to because I'm not going to have a tarp tonight because it's not going to rain, and if it don't rain, I don't want a tarp. So, but anyway, what I do is I've got this special made tarp that's got grommets all over it, and some people will take guy lines and run guy lines off to the side. Well, what I do, and the difference between a ridge line and a guy line, the ridge line is what goes down the center of your shelter, and the guy line is what goes off to the sides. Okay. Now what I do is I take my tarp, throw it over. Okay. Pull it up. Get it on here. Now what I do, I'm running out of battery. I'm running out of battery, so I'm not going to run and grab my carabiners because we got to go check out the water before we're done. But what I do is I don't use guy lines. Up on the ridge line, I have a eyelet, okay? And what I do is I attach that eyelet with a carabiner, and then on the sides, I attach with a carabiner at all four corners, okay? Now, after I have done that, what I do is when I go to crawl in, I unhook this one and clip it up here on the top, and then I get in, and then I pull it over, see? And that's only for whenever I think there's going to be a bunch of weather that I will do that, but I connect it down to the side of the bed right here, okay? And but anyway, I'm going to shoot this down here to the end. I'm not going to use that. That's a pretty good looking bed right there. All right, let's run a look at the water before the battery's gone. All right, now, you can't necessarily see the water up on the top of this because I didn't dig the hole deep enough, so the water's down in the bottom. But what you do is you remove the rock. And there's nice clean drinking water. See down in here? Now you've seen some of the survival experts say to dig a hole near a stream. If you do, it'll be very muddy. But if you layer it with grass, then it's going to be pretty clean. You just lean your head down in there and drink right out of it. I'm not going to do it though because this is, well, yeah, I'll do it. just to prove a point. Where's it at? So much grass in there I can't see. About out of battery. Alright, let me try it. Kind of weird. Alright, let's run back and I'm going to say goodbye real quick. I'll jump in the hammock. But anyway, that's basically it right there. Alright, now, can't tell by the glare, sun's starting to come up. Hopefully I can get back out here and I can finish up the other two parts of this video this week and get it uploaded. And then maybe this summer Nick will be back filming. So anyway, I had fun. Hope you had fun. Hope you learned a little bit. Like I said, that deal with the water, don't do that. That's not a camping technique. Don't do that unless you're dehydrated and about to die, because you're always taking a risk, okay? That's not a normal thing to do. So this is fun for the kids. I guess fun for adults too if you act like me. So alright, well, I'm gonna take a nap now because there's nothing else to do. I'll be back and I'll film some more tomorrow hopefully, then I'll upload it next week. So alright, thanks for watching.